A traffic advisory just in. 2 people were injured this morning in an accident on Route 35. Traffic is still backed up for several miles.
Accidents can happen at any time. Being alert and ready for danger will help you avoid trouble, whether you're driving, playing sports, or using tools. Tools increase your ability to build, fix, and create. Working with them can be fun, but tools can also cause injury. They'll cut whatever's in front of them, a brick or a finger. So how do you avoid getting hurt? One necessity is using tools not just with the idea of getting work done, but of getting it done safely. Keeping the dangers always in mind. That approach, that outlook, in every work situation is the key factor. The safety factor.
Vicky, you ready to make a cut on a bandsaw?
Protecting yourself starts with learning about the equipment, how it works,
Listen to the tone of the bandsaw. That's very important too, all right? Now,
special dangers it might hold, and ways to guard against them.
keep your hands away from the blade and let the stock go. Don't hold on to the stock.
Detailed information will vary from one tool to the next. Get checked out before using any tool. Listen to all instructions, even if you've used the tool before.
Your 3 fingers will be wrapped securely around the handle. Thumb and finger will be on the heel of the knife. Do not put your finger on top of the blade. You will cut yourself. Now, the boning knife is a different knife altogether. You can't grab it like a French knife. You'll cut your fingers off.
This here's your kill switch.
Getting and following instructions. Important with any tool. Crucial with power tools.
Grip the saw properly with both hands at all times, and make sure you wrap your thumb around the bar, not on top, so that if you have a kickback, you can control it, so that your hand can't slip out.
Okay.
All right? Any other questions?
No.
All right. Why don't we try it now?
Once you're comfortable with a tool, don't let overconfidence cause you to lose your respect for what that tool can do to you. A healthy fear that you should never lose. Make sure you get permission to use a tool and that you have adequate elbow room to do the job.
Can I begin now?
Don't crowd someone who's using a power tool. Stay clear. If you carry something long, plan your route and get help even if it's light, so you won't swing it into someone, maybe someone using a power tool. Inspect tools before use. Make sure the guides are tight and the guards are in place. Every machine has exact procedures for startup, operation, and shutdown. If you aren't sure what they are, find out. This is not the place for trial and error. Inspection includes the electric cord. Check the wire for nicks, cuts, cracks, or burn marks. Damaged tools should be replaced or repaired, not put back for someone else to use. Heating tools should be placed where no one's likely to touch the wrong end. Solder can splatter several feet.
My hand!
Bystander injuries are common. Whenever you're around potentially dangerous activities, wear eye protection.
How you making out over here?
Many people have been blinded with their safety glasses in their pockets or perched on top of their heads.
What are you doing here?
Think about the safety of others. If someone near you is unprotected, don't start work.
Just hold it steady. All right, great. Now you see what's happening?
Schools, employers, and governments set standards for protective equipment, but it's up to you to put the equipment on. There won't always be a teacher or a foreman there insisting on it. Much of the time, you'll be making the decision on your own. Sometimes, the decision to use safety gear will be easy. You couldn't do this without protection. Other times, the danger is not so obvious. Many people don't wear eye protection when nailing, but that doesn't mean it's safe. Nails not hit squarely do fly, and occasionally their points do stick into an eyeball. How much risk are you ready to take? Losing an eye? Protective equipment varies. Use the best and most appropriate you can get. The safety gear that matches the particular work you're doing. Plain safety glasses, for example, aren't good enough for welding. In fact, torch operations require various degrees of protection, including a different shade of dark lens for each specific type of welding, cutting, or brazing. To be effective, safety equipment must fit. Make sure it does, and inspect it for possible defects. Eye protection is important when using any striking tool. Never hit hardened steel tools together. That'll send sharp pieces of metal flying like shrapnel. Use the right tool for the job. Tools designed to be hit by a hammer are made of softer steel, making chipping less likely. Softer steel will mushroom, however, and pieces of the folded over edge will chip. A mushroom tool should not be used until the mushroomed lip is ground off. Regular glasses don't provide adequate protection, even when labeled safety glass or impact resistant. Like sunglasses, they can break under industrial use. They themselves can become a hazard, as can contact lenses, which can trap debris or chemicals against the eye. Chemicals can be kept out by goggles with splash-proof vents. Know what it is you're dealing with before you use a chemical. Find out the dangers involved. What protection is necessary? And what to do if something goes wrong. Extra protection is always possible. A face shield over the goggles would also protect your face from acid splash. You can't assume what you see is safe, just because it seems to be standard practice. Acid in car batteries can spill, splash, or explode, and has blinded many people. Whether cleaning a battery, charging it, or jumping with cables, wherever there are caustic chemicals, protect your eyesight. Make sure you have good even light and can see clearly through your safety eyewear. Scratched and pitted eyewear not only reduces vision, but also loses impact resistance. Safety glasses under a face shield protect the eyes from particles that can fly up under the shield. A face shield alone does not assure you of eye protection. Worn with safety glasses, the two give protection you can't get from either one alone. Safety glasses, welding helmets, and protective clothing must be worn for any electric source welding, such as arc, MIG, or TIG welding. They give off ultraviolet radiation that can burn exposed skin or cause painful and permanent eye damage. This radiation can reflect off objects and burn your eyes, even at a distance or at an angle. Welding has other hazards, including fumes, electric shock, and burns from work tables and other heated objects. Metal being cut, drilled, or shaped in any way can become hot enough to burn you also, as can the chips and shavings it throws off. If metal gets hot in a machine, never use a rag to hold it. It could get tangled and draw you in. When reaching for a hot tool, look for it first. Even small burns can make you jump and cause additional injuries. So can accidental startup of equipment or electric arcing. Be sure it's turned off before you plug it in. Bones, ligaments, and nerves in the hands are not far below the surface. Severed ligaments and nerves cannot be repaired to work just like new. Don't slide materials through your hands. Work hand over hand, or you could pick up some big splinters, or slice the web between your finger and thumb. Rings get caught. Remove rings or cover them with gloves before working. If a ring catches on something heavy or moving quickly, it can easily rip through a finger. Different gloves protect against different hazards. Select the right type for the job. However, with some tools, gloves can actually be a hazard. They could get snagged and drag your hands in. So could jewelry, even a wristwatch.
Sean, can you give us paper towels up there?
All right.
Watch out for your shirt.
Any type of dangling apparel, neckties, necklaces, bracelets, loose clothing, even long hair could get caught and pull you into a running machine. Learn to spot shear points and pinch points, the places where your toes or fingers can get pinched, crushed, or sheared off. Work shoes and boots offer protection you don't get from sneakers. When working, be conscious of where your feet and hands are at all times. Remember your ears, too. If you can't eliminate or muffle a noise, or get away from it, and it's so loud that you can't hear someone right next to you, you need protection. The louder the noise, and the longer the exposure, the greater the danger. When damage is hard to notice, like slow hearing loss, protection is often overlooked. Some people overlook all safety gear or make excuses for not wearing it. They think an accident can't happen. Not to them. Not this time. Then they get rushed, become impatient, take shortcuts, get distracted, or have bad luck. Trouble hits, and an accident has happened. Sometimes safety gear makes people think they're invulnerable. But personal protective equipment alone can't always keep you from harm. Following safe operating procedures and knowing safety principles are also essential. One safety principle: concentrate on the job at hand. Block out distractions and keep your mind on whatever you're doing. In any field, top people learn to concentrate before they became top people. It doesn't always come easily at first, but it's a talent that can be developed, along with other safe work habits.
Feed it and butt in first. Turn yourself to the side. Don't look into the chipper. Keep moving, then circle around for your next piece.
Another principle, stay out of the line of fire. That can be as simple as standing back or upwind, or keeping your head to the side of a hazard. Getting out of the line of fire involves working tools away from your body, not toward it. Think ahead. What would happen if this chisel slipped? Or this knife? What if this nut did break loose? Make sure others are out of the line of your fire, too. Safety is a team effort. If you see someone unprotected or in danger, help them out and encourage them to do the same for you. Be aware of how your actions might affect others.
What are you doing? I'm sorry, man.
Develop a sense of where you are, who's around you, where to turn when you're in trouble. Memorize where things are, like machine cutoff switches, fire extinguishers, the nearest exit, and the buttons that will shut off power to the entire room. You don't want to panic or waste time in an emergency. Know the shortest route to the nurse's office.
I got something in my eye.
Okay, sit down.
And if you're with someone who's been hurt, go with them to make sure they get there.
Okay, you're hurting the top and the bottom.
The top.
Most accidents happen too fast to react. In a split second, you can lose a finger for the rest of your life. Around tools, innocent horseplay, running, fighting, or throwing things can have disastrous results. Use the safety equipment available. Don't ignore or disconnect a guard, kickback device, or other safety feature. Use a push stick to keep your hand away from the blade. Be alert. Ask yourself, does the machine sound and look right? Am I forcing my work or pushing myself too hard? Or am I endangering anyone else? Even a piece of scrap left on a table, floor, or sticking out of a rack could cause serious injury. So can doors, which can crush fingers, break noses, or cause burns from hot spills. Doors and ladders are another danger. You wouldn't want to do this without being sure the door is locked or having someone guard it.
No. Wait a minute. It's the other door.
Falls often happen because stools, chairs, or boxes are used instead of ladders, or because ladders aren't open all the way, or are put up backwards, upside down, or at the wrong angle. Another danger, getting hit by a falling object. That's why hard hats are a good idea around any overhead work. Working up high is definitely dangerous. Working when you are high could be a grave mistake. Drugs and alcohol don't mix with tools and work. If you make a mistake and enter a shop when you're high, don't work with tools. Tell your teacher you don't feel right and get out of the class. Besides drugs and alcohol, medicine, fatigue, emotional upset, even a cold can affect your ability to work. So can paints, markers, thinners, cleaners, glues, resins, epoxies, preservatives, paint strippers. Materials like these affect your reaction time, balance, and judgment. Many accidents happen right after people are exposed to chemicals, Often they don't realize they've been affected. Toxic chemicals can be brought to your mouth by unwashed hands. Some will harm your skin or be absorbed right through it. A good reason not to clean your hands with solvents such as turpentine. Repeated or prolonged exposure to chemicals, or just one heavy dose, can cause serious health problems. Notice how you feel. If you're dizzy, detect a rash, or your eyes, mouth, nose, or head hurts, stop and tell your teacher. Also explain any medical or personal conditions that might affect your work, so you won't be expected to do something that isn't safe for you. Some chemicals are toxic and flammable. Use these with caution and plenty of ventilation.
You just read the side, okay?
I'll do my...
Separate storage areas are needed for flammable materials, away from occupied buildings if possible, but always away from heat and spark sources, such as furnaces, welding areas, electric tools, or motors. Fumes from gasoline can explode, especially if they collect in a confined area. That's why a nearly empty container is more dangerous than a full one. There's more room inside for fumes to collect. No smoking around flammables is a basic. There are many such general rules, like clamping down your work for greater control over it. Keeping exits, traffic areas, and aisles clear. Having only the tools you need in front of you, and making sure they're sharp and in good working order. After use, tools have to be cleaned and put away promptly, and passed along safely. And carried by the handle, sharp end down. One place not to put tools is in your pocket. You can stab yourself when you bend over or sit down, or what some might consider worse.
Oh, man.
A major cause of accidents is a messy workplace. That can cause a person to trip and fall into a tool. Try not to stir up dust when cleaning. Clean around machines with the power off. Your hand is not a good broom. Stepping on a nail is something you'll remember, especially if it hits the bone. Remove nails completely, even if you're in a hurry. Sometimes rushing a job can backfire. Any spill requires immediate action. What action depends on the substance spilled. Oil can be soaked up with an absorbent material. Something else might be diluted with water. Or the best action could be to evacuate the area. Wet floors are a double hazard. Slipping and electrocution. Electric current wants to go into the ground. If you're standing in water, you make it easy for electricity to get to the ground, right through you. Water around electricity spells danger. Any moisture, even dew or perspiration, can help cause electric shock. Modern outlets have a round hole with a ground wire connected to it that can prevent short circuits from grounding through you. Shorts can cause blinding sparks. A good reason to wear eye protection when working with live wiring. Also, test to be sure the ground is connected. Some tools are designed without a ground plug, but if the ground plug on a cord is broken or cut off, don't use it. until it's been rewired correctly with a new plug. A special breaker, often installed in wet areas, reduces your chance of electrocution. If any electricity starts to leak through a person, a ground fault circuit interrupter instantly shuts off power. But normal safety precautions still should be taken in any situation, for safety devices don't always work. Use a heavy gauge extension cord for power tools and inspect it along its entire length before you connect it to power. If a wire or plug becomes hot in use, you've got trouble. If you feel minor shocks or a tingle, that could be death at your fingertips. Electricity is trying to go through you. Don't dust yourself off or play with compressed air. You can damage an eye, blow out an eardrum, or force a tiny air bubble through your skin and into your bloodstream that will travel to your brain and instantly kill you. You could also get killed if you got grease on the valve of this oxygen cylinder, or crack the valve by knocking it over. Any pressurized tank that could tip over should be secured. Back injuries can be very painful and serious. Bend your knees when lifting. Flex your stomach and lift with your leg muscles. Lift steadily. Don't jerk or twist your spine. You can injure your back even lifting light objects. Cooperation, planning, and timing are vital when lifting with others. Get help for heavy or awkward objects. Keep good posture throughout the lift, and watch your fingers and toes for pinch points.
That was heavy.
Every job, even a simple one, has potential for danger. A lot of people get hurt jacking cars. For jacks, no matter how big, can tip over or slip. If you're going to work under a car, make sure it's supported by something a lot safer than a jack. Learn the specific safety considerations for the particular type of work you're doing, such as getting rid of poisonous exhaust fumes, or protecting against toxic dust from asbestos brake linings. Special equipment helps minimize exposure. It's designed to keep brake dust out of the air and away from the worker. Don't work in a cloud of any type of dust, smoke, fumes, or vapors, even when wearing a mask or respirator. Such gear often won't protect you. It may be the wrong type of filter. You may be wearing it wrong, or it may not fit against your face. Using respirators correctly requires training. Even when working properly, they don't remove all pollutants. Use them as backup protection. Ventilation that brings you fresh air and draws pollutants away from you is your primary protection. Outside, make sure an airborne hazard doesn't blow back at you. Often, it's possible to increase safety by changing the way you do a job, or where you do it. Sometimes you can get away from a hazard or use a different, less dangerous substance. Limiting your exposure to danger should always be your first objective before you put on protective gear. Whenever you approach a job, learn to take advantage of the safety factor. Always consider the possible dangers and how you can get the job done safely. Safety is a developing science. New tools, new procedures, better, safer ways of doing things are constantly being devised. Keep learning all you can about safety from as many sources as possible. But you don't have to know everything to start creating a safer working environment. Acting on one piece of information can make a difference. Take a look around you at your work areas, habits, procedures, and attitudes. And whenever you pick up a tool, always remember the safety factor.